Darylyn's POV.
She was poisoned. Nico, Luca, and I were all gathered in the throne room as Luca informed us of the cause of death. So the cause of death is poison, Nico stated to Luca, who shook his head, confusing the two of us. She was indeed poisoned, but that was not the cause of her death. He clarifies. While examining the dead body, I did notice a bump in the back of her head, which makes it obvious that she was indeed hit with a blunt object, and from my deduction, that was what killed her. If she was hit with a blank object, then how did she get poisoned? I asked, trying to make sense of his words. I'm not sure, Your Majesty. But I did find out the poison that was given to her, which I believe would be of interest to you. His words alerted me even more. The look in his eyes told me that it was something serious. Why did you say that? Because the poison given to the maid was the same poison given to the queen. Wait, what? Nico asked, with a look of surprise on both of our faces. How can that be, unless the killer is the same person who tried to kill the queen? I finished off his sentence.
I believe so, Your Majesty.
Luca agrees. There is no doubt that the killer is in this palace, Nico muttered, and I nodded to agree with him. Do you know what poison was used and how it was gotten? Yes, I do, Your Majesty. It is the oleander plant. Here is what is thrilling, Your Majesty. It is not found here in Nisha's, but in Silvio. Get in contact with Lord Zane. I need the two of you to work together and find out whoever has made an entry into Silvio from the beginning of the year to now, and find out if they have purchased the oleander plant.
Right away, Your Majesty.
Luca responded by bowing his head before making his way out of the throne room. I tried to look back on my visits to Silvio to see if I could remember anything out of place. Who would have easily gone to Silvio without getting notice and at the same time been able to access the palace? There is no dispute that whoever is doing this is playing some kind of game with us, Nico voiced, slamming his hand on the table. They definitely knew we were onto them from the get-go, from the time Letitia was poisoned. They knew we would likely suspect someone within the palace, so they must have told the maid to give us the wrong information, directing our focus away from the palace. His jaw clenched. It was understandable that he was angry. I was too, knowing that we were being tormented. My mind drifted back to the maid who tried to kill Letitia. Nico and I had been the ones to interrogate her. She had claimed she didn't know the identity of the person who sent her, but was certain that whoever it was wasn't from Nisha's, judging from their accent. So Nico, Zane, and I tried looking for people who had come into Nisha's months before the ball, but were unable to find the mastermind behind all this. Now it was clear that he or she was here and was playing a dangerous game that I planned on putting an end to, but first I needed to know the reason why they would kill a mere maid of the queen. I want you to investigate the maid that died, I said, snapping out of my thoughts. Why? He asked, raising a brow. Do you think she is somehow connected to this? Don't you find it strange that they went after the maid instead of Letitia? They had no reason to kill the maid, but they did. I get what you mean, but what if it was some kind of message to you and Letitia? It could be a threat to the queen's life. That might also be true, but we need to keep an open mind.
I will get right into it then,
he replied, getting up from his seat and bowing his head before making his way out of the room.
Darylyn's POV.
My mind was clouded at the thought of the maid being involved with whoever was doing this, and I wished for nothing more than that I was wrong. The last thing I wanted to do was tell Letitia that the girl she had held dear to her heart and considered a sister had betrayed her. Such news would only cause more heartache, and she already has more than enough. I couldn't bear to see her go through another painful ordeal. These past few months have no doubt been a roller coaster. Taking a deep breath, I rise to my feet, making my way out of the throne room. Like I promised Letitia, I was going to be with her every step of the way as she broke this news to the family of her handmaid, who should be arriving at the palace any moment. I made my way to the entrance, where I was certain Letitia was, and there she was, staring out the palace gate. I wrapped my arms around her waist, causing her to yelp, startled but relaxed when she saw it was me. You shouldn't sneak up on me like that, she scolds, causing me to chuckle. I apologize. It wasn't my intention. It's fine, I was probably too worried to notice your presence. We didn't get the chance to carry on with our conversation when we heard the sound of horses approaching. As I saw Prince Devlin mount his horse, Letitia bolted from my side, racing over to hug her brother. "Devlin!" she screamed when he caught her hug with a smile on his face. "Be careful, Letitia, you are pregnant. You shouldn't be running," he scolded, taking the words out of my mouth while glancing down at her now visible bump. "King Sviatoslavik," he greeted her, bowing his head. "Prince Devlin," I responded by shaking hands with him. "I'm sorry for your loss. I got a message about what happened. I know how much Gala means to you." "Thanks, I'm still trying to get the hang of the fact that she is no more," Letitia said. I could tell she was fighting back the tears. Her eyes wandered behind him, and I gave him a puzzled look as well. Prince Devlin sighed. "There is no need to search behind me, Letitia," he said, drawing her attention back to him. "They aren't with me."
Why is that?
"Because they have been missing for the past 2 months.
Letitia's POV.
I have no clue what's going on. I called out, pacing around the room while Darium sat on the bed. More puzzles after welcoming Devlin at the entrance of the palace, and his words about Gala's family being missing just kept bringing more puzzles. How can a whole family go missing for months without anyone noticing it? It makes no sense at all. Pacing around isn't going to solve anything, it's only going to stress you out, which isn't good for the baby. I can't help it, Darium, nothing adds up. I stopped, staring into his freshly groomed face. His beard was all shaved, and his hair was trimmed. I puff out a breath as I continue pacing around the room. If she had said anything, I would have done something to help her family. I just don't understand any of these. Back in Hades, we used to tell each other everything, so why didn't she just come to me for help? Maybe she didn't want you to worry, or she probably thought she could handle it herself. He responded, getting up from the bed. You don't need to worry about her family. Devlin had already told us he had men looking for them. I'm sure they would be found in no time. He takes a hold of my hand, pulling me to the table before trapping me with his body. All this pacing isn't doing my eyes any good. I sighed, still worried. I just wish they were here to say their final goodbye to their daughter before she is laid to rest, and the fact that they aren't going to see her before she is buried breaks my heart. I know it does, Etlardi, little bird, ... Hand caressed my cheek. But we can't keep her body in the basement much longer. There is nothing to preserve her body till her family is here, and I know you won't want her to be left there like that. I nodded, taking yet another deep breath. You're right, it's best we hold a ceremony for her as soon as possible. I rested my head on his chest. Inhaling, taking in his sweet scent, and sighing, I was content as I took another breath of his scent. Are you sniffing me out? Darium's amused voice snapped me back to my senses. A blush crept up on my face, and I buried my head deeper into his chest, feeling it vibrate as he laughed. Hey! I countered, hitting his shoulders lightly. Don't act like you don't do the same. He laughs even more, shaking his head. I lifted my head up a little to gaze at his eyes, and my breath ceased when his eyes met mine, putting me in a trance. I didn't realize it when I lifted my hands to cup his cheeks. My fingers traced over his face as if they were memorizing it, moving down to his lips. I don't know who leaned in first, me or him. All I knew was that we were full-on kissing, like we were starving. His hands roamed around my body in soft caress. Our tongues danced around each other, battling for dominance. This time he let me win, and I made sure to make the most of it. He was exploring every part of me, and he groaned before pulling back, breaking the kiss. Why? If we carry on like this, Etlardi, little bird, I won't be able to hold back, so it's best if we stop. Darium said, cutting me off, his eyes turning lustful. I don't care, I want you. Are you sure? You have been through a lot in the past few days. I don't want us to do anything that you aren't truly sure of. His voice was husky, causing me to squeeze my thighs together. I know how I feel, Darium. I snapped, frustrated. I was mad at you before, but we are past that. Now, I want you. He lifts me up, puts me on the table, and pushes my hips out towards him. Our lips were almost touching, and he gazed into my eyes one last time before leaning down to kiss me. I wasted no time in kissing him back when his lips locked with mine. Our lips moved together in perfect sync. His tongue took the lead this time, taking its sweet time to explore my mouth. His hands tranced down my body. Darium and I walked into the bathing chamber to wash ourselves. We didn't waste time since we were already late for breakfast. Getting dressed as fast as we could, we then made our way out of the room. We walked down the hall into the dining room, where the rest of the family sat, including my brother, Devlin. They seemed to be having a conversation but stopped when we walked in, and I saw the smirk on Neetha's face when she sat protectively behind my back. Darium pulled out a chair for me when we got to the table, and I gave him a smile, whispering a thank you before taking my seat with Neetha sitting opposite me. She wiggled her eyes in a suggestive manner, and I blushed, looking away. "I wonder what the holdup was for you both to arrive 30 minutes late for breakfast, keeping us waiting." She said this, glancing at me. Her eyes twinkle is mischief. "I apologize for the delay. Darium and I had some matters to attend to," I muttered, staring down at the plate in front of me like it was the most fascinating thing, when I heard a scoff. I didn't have to raise my head to know who it was. "I'm sure it was a really important matter." As Neith says, sarcasm could be heard in her words. "Enough with pestering Letitia, Neithotep," Darium said, his voice leaving no room for argument, and she rolled her eyes, not saying anything, while Nico had a smile on his face and Devlin seemed to be awkward, probably having a hint of what Neith meant. The maids began serving the meal, and we immediately began eating. For a while, none of us said anything, keeping our focus on the food in front of us, when the silence was broken by Neith. "It's good to see you two getting along again. Walking on eggshells these past few weeks has been hectic." I gave her a look, and her eyes widened when she realized her mistake. I didn't want Devlin to know about what had happened these past few weeks and how Katrona was involved. I turned to face him and saw the confused look on his face. He turns his head to glance between Darium and me. "I didn't realize the two of you had a problem." "It's nothing serious, just a bit of a dispute," I immediately answered, giving him a smile, while Darium didn't seem bothered about it. "It can't be a simple argument if you guys have to go on for weeks, like Princess Neithotep just said." He questioned, his eyes lingered more on me, like he was trying to see if truly everything was okay between us, but they soon shifted in the direction of Darium when he spoke, and I couldn't be more thankful. Seeing how clueless he was, I was certain Katrona hadn't told him about the child I had lost or what happened back in Silvio, causing the rift between Darium and me during the past few weeks. It's natural for a husband and wife to have a bit of a misunderstanding. Although Letitia and I did have our shares of dispute, we managed to overcome it, which is more than enough. Darium answered, glancing at me with nothing but love in his eyes, making me feel giddy. Devlin nods without preying on our affairs. "When do you plan on holding the burial rite?" he asked, changing the subject, and I was once again reminded of Gala, causing my heart to ache. "Tomorrow," I gulped, fighting back the tears. "I think it's best we have it tomorrow. I want her to be buried in a place filled with flowers." I knew how much she loved it, and she was admiring the garden with me. I said, reciting the times we would sneak out of my room to the garden just to watch the flowers bloom. A hand resting on mine that was placed on the table gave it a light squeeze, and I smiled at Darium, letting him know that I was going to be fine. "I know how much she truly means to you and how she was a source of comfort to you back in Ahades," Devlin says, sadness sipping from his voice as he takes a hold of my hand. "I owe it to her for having been with you through those trying times, and I wish I had shown my appreciation to her before her passing. But make no mistake, I still plan on doing so by keeping track of her family. I promise to find them and bring them back to Ahades, with a promise to make sure they have the same privileges as the nobles and never have to worry about any financial needs. It might not be much, but I believe it's the least I can do." My heart warmed at his words, knowing how sincere he was, and all I could wish for was that he finds Gala family safe and sound. "Thank you, Devlin." "You don't need to thank me, Letitia. It's my duty to my people as well." He says this, stretching his hand on the table to grab mine before giving it a light squeeze. I gave a curt nod, fighting back the tears as Darium's arms moved up and down my back in a calming manner. "How is Minerva?" Neith asked, and I couldn't help but be thankful for the diversion. I was trying not to dwell on Gala's death, and talking about it did nothing but bring me sorrow. I wasn't sure if I was ready to say my final goodbyes to her tomorrow. Everything right now feels like a bad dream, one I wish nothing more than to wake up from. It's like I've been stuck in a loop of sadness, right from Katrona's revelation back in Silvio. I wondered how much pain my heart could take before it lost its use. Heaving out a sigh, I kept my focus on my food, trying my best to listen to the conversation going around the room and detaching myself from every bleak thought.